Dear students, today we see the next topic, that is biological clock. Now, biological clock, we know this clock, but today we have to study about the biological clock. So, what is this? Actually, we know that the earth moves its tilted axis around some every 365 days and 5 hours and 48 minutes. And this movement produces a calendar year and its seasons. Likewise, a calendar day of 23 hours 56 minutes, that is 24 hours, with a day and night is obtained by the Earth's revolution on its own axis. But relative to Sun, similarly, Moon revolves around the Earth, and this revolution together with Earth's rotation yields a lunar day of 24 hours and 50 minutes. Since Moon comes every day 50 minutes later. So all these periodicities, which are geophysical in origin and caused by planetary revolutions, make the environment rhythmical in which we live. See, very interesting this thing is. So, regularly occurring daily cycle of light and darkness have been known to exert a far reaching influence on the behavior and metabolism of many organisms, including we. So, the response of different organisms to environmental rhythms of light and darkness is termed as photoperiodism. See, once again, I am repeating this sentence. The response of different organisms to environmental rhythms of light and darkness is termed as photoperiodism. So that means we do some changes as per the environment changes. So response of different organism. So whatever our response to our environment of light and darkness is termed as photoperiodism. So each daily cycle includes a period of illumination followed by period of darkness, and this is called as photoperiod. And animals are not active continuously throughout each 24 hours period. Correct. Some, such as birds and butterflies, are most active during daylight, and these are called as diurnal animals. So active in day. While crickets, cockroaches, and many insects and bats, including many other mammals, are active at night. So these are called as nocturnal animals. So this is very important. Now, besides this, there are still certain species such as rabbits which reserve their active times for twilight hours of the day. In early morning or early evening, these animals are called crepuscular animals. So this is 24-hour cycle is marked by alternating period of walking and feeding during daylight and sleeping and resting at night in diurnal animals. So this is all about the introduction about the biological clock. Now the next point is circadian rhythms. Hallberg in 1959 claimed that daily rhythms in living beings under natural conditions do not have usually a precise 24-hour period. He then coined the term circadian for such a rhythm as Buning in 1973 opines that the term circadian rhythm stands for the endogenous rhythmic component, small exogenous diurnal rhythms as expressed, controlled by external zigzag run exactly with 24 hours period, and therefore they can be called as a daily rhythm. So here the circadian rhythm means whatever the response we give to our environment. So see, this circadian rhythm is popularly called as biological clock. So in general, we term it as biological clock. So when you observe, so I'm talking in general now, when you observe your daily life, you do some work at that particular timing in a day. So this is the biological clock. For example, eating, sleeping, doing some work. So this is the biological clock. Now, origin of circadian rhythm. So it is amazing that the rhythmicity of life processes is closely tied up with the origin of life, naturally. So, biological clocks thus are instrumental in ensuring the physiological integrity of cells, and a life originated in a constant environment of sea. We developed a biological clock apparatus worked on to land a less stable environment. Now, here it is starts from the protoplasm are different from those occur in non-living nature. Okay, so furthermore, the protein synthesis, acquired inheritance, and synthesis of organic compounds is based on the DNA. DNA molecules are self-replicating that brought about basic rhythmicity in the living world. So that means the summarize is that it is originate from our DNA, the biological clock. Now, the structure of biological clock. So when we talk about the structure, actually it is not having that some structure, but this is where does the circadian clock exist or what structure complexity of biological clock. So here it is discovered by many workers, Stephen and Zucker, Moore, Rusak, Zicker in 1975, but they have demonstrated that the biological clock is neutral and that in mammals the probable site it is the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. See, so it is depend upon the our brain. In natural, I'm talking in brain. So in mammals, Hessian lesions lead to complete destruction of the circadian rhythm, and Hessian cells show clear circadian rhythms. So just I will talk with you, we you people, that it is our daily life. We do same work at same time. So this is biological clock, but it is due to the our brain, and that is called as that suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus. So our that daily routine is recorded, and we do the same work at that same time. In birds, however, apart from the SCN, pineal gland also seems to be involved in the circadian rhythm generation, and pinealectomy severely affects the rhythmicity in some species. So, for that, it is observed that pineal gland is the most important. If you remove the pineal gland, so their circadian rhythm or biological clock get disturbed. Now, here it is long notes you learn or you read. Then exogenous control. So how it is controlled? So this type control underline the fact that biological clock have no independent timing capacity but depend on the inflow of the timing information from the environment. So environment control our the rhythmicity, that is called as exogenous control. Rhythmicity. Rhythmicity means our daily work. So it is apparent that the biological clock of many organisms is reproduced true to nature in the laboratory under artificial condition, that the homeotherms are responsive to light and dark cycles, and poikilotherms respond to light and dark as well as temperature cycles is widely investigated fact. So naturally, just I have explained you the reptiles, or they are response to light and dark, and their temperature also. The if they are in the sun, the temperature rises of the body. Again they go to the water, the temperature become below. Again they come. So this is totally depend upon light, dark, and the temperature cycle of the body, because they don't have a capacity to keep their body temperature controlled. For example, in mammals, our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, so we can maintain it, but reptiles can't do. So their body temperature is depend upon the environment. So Here, the animal selects the most advantageous one and phases its biological periodicity with it. So, for biological periodicity or biological clock, it's totally synchronizes rhythmically with light, temperature, social Zizgerber and other Zizgerbers. Means activity. Now here light. So naturally the light is the main part for biological clock. Among the matter of environmental informations, light remains the ubiquitous one in control of biological periodicity. Its role as entertainer has been recognized in all groups of animals from protozoa to mammals. So what they do, so the entertainment of circadian rhythm in light and dark cycles, effect of light on period length, effect of light in photoperiodic phenomena, mediated by biological clock and effects of different spectra of light. So we know that the sunflower. Sunflower is actually on the east when sun is on east. So they move where the sun is moved. So this is the effect of light on the biological clock. So the second one, that is the temperature. So the second, that is the temperature. Generally, the biological clock is temperature compensated but not temperature incentive. In poikilotherms, that is the reptiles, but not in homeotherms. However, the biological clocks are entrained and influenced by the temperature cycle. While high temperature is read by animals as light phase, low temperature mimics the darkness. So, just I told you the temperature controls the rhythmicity of this some animal, for example, reptiles. Then social Zitgerbers. Zitgerbers means the giver. Actually, the term coined is a German term. It is a time giver. The meaning is that time giver. So, social time giver synchronizes this biological rhythm and includes acoustic, visual, and chemical signals. So, according to that, the biological clock is depend upon. Now, human rhythms is social isolation, free run, even in presence of light and dark cycles. Stress rhythm in mice are influenced by social cues. Females in company of males come to heat and ovulate on the same day of the stress cycle. So it is a social time giver. Zitberger means so socially the other members are there. So their cycles depend upon the presence of these other members. For example, in rat, you just read it. Other parts. Now, other is though weak, the Zitbergers that influence the circadian rhythmically include electrical fields, cyclic pressure changes. Furthermore, some stimuli not to be defined as a Zitzberger do affect the biological periodicity. Then food access or water at limited times of the day phases, locomotor activity and other metabolic cycles. So it means that so many other factors are there. On that factor, our biological rhythm activities to depend upon. Okay, so these are the exogenous control. Exogenous means externally our biological cycle or our activities get controlled. Now the endogenous, inside. So totally the biological clock persists constant conditions of light and dark and temperature. So three main factor: light, darkness and temperature. It is concluded generally that these are endogenously governed. The exogenous factors have only a little say. Since so few experiments have been conducted, it is still premature to conclude that the biological clock is purely an endogenous property of animals. So naturally, the biological clock is totally not depend upon the endogenous property. It is total or combined effect of the exogenous and endogenous way. Now, it is a clock stopped, for example, by cooling, restart after lapse of time. So, then the removal of exogenous Gisberger should not affect the persistence of rhythm. Biological clock is inherited if it is endogenous. For example, domestic chicks hatched in incubator with constant light and temperature show a circadian activity cycle when they are hatched. So, the summary is that it is a combined effect. So it is very difficult to conclude a biological clock are governed endogenously or by exogenous factors. Just I have told you. So it has been now recognized that animals, even if supposed to be placed under so-called constant conditions, still derive information from their environment. So this is the combined effect. So next time we will see the adaptive, that is the functional significance of biological clock. So we have studied about these adaptations, flight adaptations, cursorial adaptation. So these are adaptations means the animals are able to live in surrounding environment. According to that, they have developed body structures. So they are helpful in their movement activity. That means nothing but the biological clocks, their migration is there. So in this way we have to study about the adaptive or the functional significance of biological clock. Okay, next time we will see this thing. You should read all these things 4 or 5 times.